Welcome back to Burning River Bushcraft. Today we're going to be looking at a Puukko style knife from Finland that's been finished by Beaver Creek Woodcraft. So this is another product I've been testing out from Beaver Creek Woodcraft. This is a hand-forged knife right from Finland. So Matt imports these and he mounts them on a handle. This is curly birch, and this is actually a traditional style of handle. There's no epoxy or anything holding this together. That's what I think is so cool about it. This is actually a drilled hole and then it's wedged into place just like an axe. I don't know if you can see the detail on it, but it's held in there pretty well. He's been talking about actually epoxying them in just for security's sake. I think it's cooler to have a more traditional style knife made a traditional way, and this thing's been batoned and lightly beat on for the most part, and I've got no issues with it. So it comes with a traditional dangler style sheath that Matt makes. This is a pine liner that he's actually put a drain hole in. This is a center seam, a Nordic style sheath. And there's a nice little swell on the back side of this, and it pops in and out. Pretty cool. Very good retention on it. I was a little unsure of the dangler style. This is just the leather lace. But I have worn this quite a bit, worn it actually to a SE class, just because the SE knife I had was new and it was sticking in the sheath. I was having trouble getting it out quickly for certain projects. So I just wore this thing, and this giant palm swell just indexes the knife nicely and lets you pull it out without even thinking about it. The fact that it does have a liner in there, the sheath is open enough where I can pop it in and out just by feel. So I'll give you a couple pictures of the blade in the hand. This palm swell looks kind of nice, especially in cold weather. I do like the fact that I can feel it and it lets me get the knife out even though I am wearing gloves. It fits the hand pretty well barehanded. When I go to some of the chest lever grip positions, this ball actually fits right into the palm of my hand. So I am happy with this. However, cold weather has come upon us, and when I'm using a glove, I'm getting closer and closer to the blade. So with a gloved hand, not so much. This is not my knife. I will be having one of these made, and I'm going to have the exact same handle, just a little bit longer. That's something I spoke with Matt about, and he said this was a personal knife that you kept on your belt all the time, obviously. So there was great variance in everyone's handle size. So feels great, just like it is. You know, a Nordic style knife like this, obviously you're going to be using it in colder conditions, so mittens, gloves, all that stuff. I do like the fact that I can feel this knob with heavy gloves on, but I am crowding the blade significantly every time I do that. You know, I haven't really had an issue. It still locks into place for the chest lever and everything else, but it's closer than comfortable is what I'd call it. So let's get it on the bench here and get some whittling. So here's a little better shot of the knife. Now this is not a full tang knife. This is not a one tool option. This is definitely part of a system, but I'm pretty comfortable batoning most things. And there was zero flex in that handle, zero flex in the blade. I've batoned just small things like hearth boards and such. Really nothing too big. Nothing that's not completely out of the ordinary for a knife this size. So now that we know that, you know, it's a strong enough system to baton if you need to, let's see how it carves. And it's a good sharp piece of steel. It's a Scandi bevel, so it's no surprise that it makes a feather stick like a dream. Okay. So just a few minutes and it makes a nice feather stick. Not shocking at all, doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Very comfortable in the hand. And it went right through that knot. No problem. So again, I'm not abusively knocking this thing with a stick here. I'm just giving it some light taps and it's doing the job for me. Here's a piece of poplar. This is an old hearth board. Let me knock a piece off this. So I'm just going to round this off. Okay, so I'm trying to make a square notch here. There's the quick notch. Quickie square notch. Actually, not a good square notch here. Maybe this out a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a little better. And there it is. And you can see sometimes I choke up on the knife. I've still got plenty to hold on to here. This is kind of a variable handle that he's got. So I can go fist. I can choke up, hold on to the back of the blade, and I've still got quite a bit of handle to hold on to here. So I dig it. Okay, so just the press cut X, and I'll make a pot hook real quick. Alright, so there's a pot hook, completely functional. So the notches look a little prettier when it's not 20 degrees out, but whatever. It'll do all the functional notches in carving. No surprise, again, good steel, sharp Scandi edge with a comfortable handle. So overall, I'm super pleased with the knife. I love the grip. I love the look of the knife. I love the fact personally that it's tapered in with the wedges as opposed to the epoxy. I think that's a huge plus. Matt said he was uncomfortable selling these without being epoxied into customers. As long as you know what you're doing, and you know, I baton through several pieces of wood here. Again, I wasn't just beating this thing just for the pure enjoyment of it, but it held up great. The thing looks great, and it kind of fits as a package. This is a very unique knife. I do have a Hella Viking which is probably the closest knife to this comparison-wise. It cuts similar to a Mora, but I like the look of this a lot more, obviously. I've got tons of Moras I still enjoy using, like the Mora Classic with the rounded grip. This is way more comfortable. This is a huge, huge improvement, especially when you have a fitted sheath, getting it out in cold weather and your hands don't work quite as well like they're doing today. This is a big plus. Now, I haven't skinned any game with this yet. I've just been doing bushcraft type stuff with it and screwing around. That was one question I had, because this is an epoxy finish. If I was to, clean a fish or gut a deer or something like that, I'm afraid it would get kind of funky in this handle. Now, he sealed this with like a pine tar. That's what he does with most of his axes. And on my gloves and stuff, you can see where I'm getting a little pine tar rub off. But for the most part, I think it's okay. I think if you pressed it into service cleaning game, it would obviously be fine. It's obviously not its intended purpose, but it definitely could be pressed into that. So when you get into the heavy stuff where you're not comfortable batoning a stick tang Puukko style knife like this, that's when you need an axe. And I've got a matching axe that works well with this. So this is the Finnish axe, and this thing is a monster. It's not so much long. This is like fine forest size probably. I'm guessing this is maybe a 24-inch handle. This is from Beaver Creek Woodcraft. He puts the handles on just like he does the knives, and this is curly birch, same handle. So this is actually a set. I believe he sources this wood from the UP. Very, very unique axe. Smaller head. Smaller hole for the handle. Huge pull on this thing. And for me, this is quite a heavy axe to use. This is similar, I guess, to a Russian axe. I do have a Russian axe that has a shorter handle, big heavy head, similar to a hewing hatchet. But this thing, I used it to split wood. I wouldn't consider this to be a normal bushcraft style axe. When you think of an axe like this, this is strictly a service axe. This is like a giant metal club on a stick. I can still do some fine tasks. Let me make some feather sticks here and show you what this thing will do. Alright, so this is the other side of that tulip poplar. So it does a decent job feathering, and it's undercut, similar to a lot of the other Scandinavian axes where I can choke up on here. This has got like the greatest hammer pull ever. This thing's like sledgehammer size hammer pull. If you can get over the funky look of this thing, it is a serviceable axe. So if you're looking for something unique, I would look at the Finnish axe. If you're looking for a functional axe, this is definitely it. But the weird factor is here like 100%. This is very, very unique. It's developed over time, and I'm kind of interested in why it looks so much different than everything else. But for better or for worse, here it is. So if you're looking for a Puukko that's an upgrade from a Mora or a Hella or other standard knife, something that's unique and personal, give Matt at Beaver Creek Woodcraft, give him a heads up. You can find him on Facebook. he does great work. I do like it. Very nice looking knife. I will have one of these myself. And if you're looking for the set, I don't know a lot of other places that you can get a Finnish axe. This is completely different style. So, you know, good luck fitting this handle yourself. But he does great work. It's all hand done, and it makes a nice looking set. I do have to say that. All right, till next time. This has been Jamie Boggs with Burning River Bushcraft. See you soon.